Welcome to another episode of the Choose Your Soul Show. My name is Hakeem,
My name is Alyssa.
and we are passionate about providing resources and perspective to help you choose yourself and strengthen your soul. Where we remind you, rock bottom is not the end, it's just the ground floor of what you're about to rebuild. Today's guest is someone who didn't just survive, she alchemized. She took the kind of pain most people suppress in silence and turned it into a platform for power, purpose, and presence. She's a mother, a mentor, and a mirror. Because talking to her will reflect all the truths you've been avoiding and remind you that you're not broken. You're just overdue for a breakthrough. She broke free from abusive relationships that came disguised as love, loyalty, and I'm just trying to help. She didn't just walk away. She walked others back to themselves in the process. She teaches that healing isn't linear. It's layered. Boundaries aren't rude. They're reverent. And peace is not passive. It's a choice you make every time you say no to the old version and yes to intention. She's proof that your past doesn't disqualify you from your purpose. It prepares you to guide others to theirs. So if you've ever felt trapped in patterns, confused by love, or loyal to your own pain, this conversation is the permission slip your soul's been begging for. Please welcome to the show, Ashley Maland. Round of applause. How you feeling?
That was incredible. Oh my gosh, I feel on top of the world.
Well, you are.
I didn't even know it was that cool, but let's do this.
We're so excited to have you, always with the best intros. I cannot wait to talk to you and hear your answers to some of the questions we have, because obviously from Keem's intro, we can see you have a really incredible story and you've gone through a lot. Can you just give us a rundown of sometimes, the most abusive environments can awaken us, as break us and then awaken us. So what was the moment that you realized that the pain isn't your home anymore, and what flipped your survival mode into soul work?
Ooh, God, that's such a good question. I would say, I went through abusive relationship after abusive relationship for a really long time. And finally, it hit me like this is a pattern, whether I'm the culprit or the other people are the culprit. Maybe it's a little bit of everyone involved here. This isn't working. And this isn't the life I want to live. And these aren't the kinds of relationships I want to have anymore because it feels miserable. And it was after just like another horrible breakup that I finally went, okay, like enough's enough. I have to change something within me to change the way that I keep allowing these types of relationships to show up in my life. Because at the end of the day, there are abusive people everywhere you look, right? It's just going to happen. You don't always know if someone's going to be abusive coming into a relationship or not. But depending on who you believe you are and what you believe you're worth, you can either choose to stay or go, right? You can see the signs for what they are and say, this is not what I want or what I deserve, and I'm leaving. And it sounds super easy. It's not that easy, but it can be that simple. You know what I mean? And I just, honestly, I hit rock bottom after another failed relationship that was so obviously toxic. And I got really depressed and I got really low. And I mean, even a little bit suicidal, if I'm perfectly honest. And I thought, there's only one way out of this, and that's to get back up and to work through this and get honest with myself and let myself have that dark night of the soul and not rely on anyone else to pull me through it this time, and to figure out what's really going on. And that's what I did. That's just what I did. And so I've been single now for, gosh, I think it's been about 2 years. So I just made the choice that, you know what, this is my work to do. I have to do this for me. It's not for anyone else. It's not even so that I'll be a better partner necessarily. I just know what I have to do for myself to love myself enough to only allow healthy environments and relationships in my life.
You got to set the standard. You
Yeah,
got to set the standard from you to you every
that's
day.
right. That's
And I
right.
think that space and that solitude allows us to create boundaries, what we allow, what we don't allow.
Amen.
And then you're able to identify who's there to support and who's not, who's there to test you and see if you really got the strength within you and who doesn't. How much work have you done? Did you do enough work to not get sucked in by the beginning phases of honeymoon and attachment and love, knowing that what's on the other side, because we're not strong enough yet
Yeah.
to really stand in our truth once we get in love and excitement and stress and pressure and all this type of external kind of impact on our internal compass, our internal emotional state. Did you go from childhood into toxic relationships, or was there a good relationship and then it went into toxic?
So unfortunately, my first experience of a relationship was my first abusive relationship. And I was so young. I was 15 when I met my abuser. And so I honestly, that kind of laid the framework for me of, oh, this is just what relationships look like. I mean, obviously, as a 38-year-old woman now, I can look back and go, really? But at 15 years old, that was kind of what built the foundation for me of this is what love looks like. You get love bombed, you get groomed, you get lied to, and you get cheated on, and they become aggressive and it's always your fault. And like I just thought this is love. This is what like relational love looks like. And so from that point on, even though I knew like your soul knows that this isn't right, like your spirit knows, and my body was just like going downhill very rapidly, mentally, emotionally, physically. But because of that, I didn't have very high standards for myself at all, because anything that was even just a slight bit better than that was to me a good relationship now. Like if it could be extraordinarily toxic. I could be with someone who puts me down every single day, but he doesn't hit me. He doesn't put his hands
Mm,
on me. So this is better than what I had, you know? And it was like every relationship from that point on, I just literally like compared it to the first worst one, which is a terrible idea. Like no relationship should compare to the relationship you had before, right? Because people are different, and relationships are different. And healthy should just be healthy. Like
hmm.
it shouldn't be like, oh, this is a little better, so this is okay. Like, but that's again, that comes back to having to do the inner work of knowing the difference and knowing what you're worth, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to just tolerating it.
Yeah, the bar is in hell when you have those
Yes.
first experiences. Because I had a relationship like that too. 5 years in high school, cheated on, lying. I didn't. He never hit me. He strangled me once. I think. I think I blacked that
Still
part out.
counts.
Big deal.
Yep,
Big deal. Oh, big
definitely.
deal.
I
But it wasn't
think.
like to the point. I think I blacked it out. To be honest, I
Yeah.
need to revisit that a little bit. I kind of just like forget about things that I'm not in anymore. I'm like moving on. But the patterns. I think it's important to recognize the patterns too, and knowing that you're like, okay, I am going from toxic relationship to toxic relationship, and taking that time to be single. I think is so important. I've had breaks between relationships and whatnot. But so I know of so many women, especially, that will go from relationship to a relationship and don't give themselves any breathing room. And it's like, how can you even
Yes.
explore what you want when you don't give yourself the time by yourself? And so many people are afraid to be alone. And it's like, that's where the magic happens, is when you are alone and you have the time to be with yourself and figure out what you do want from someone, and then set those standards, because otherwise you're just going to be giving people a pass because you just don't want to be alone. It's like, that's not how
Uh-huh.
you should be living.
How do you draw the line between? I know you said you don't want to compare it to your old relationships, but I think that's exactly
Yeah.
what relationships are for. Every person you meet is conditioning you to be the version for the people you haven't met yet. And if you don't pay attention to the old relationships, how do you break free of your conditioning? But also, how do you realize your strength and the things that you have that can be beneficial to the future people? And that's a relationship with anything. It could be an addiction, your relationship with money, your relationship with your screens, your relationship with shopping, your relationship with your dog, your relationship with your kids, all those things, and how you treat external factors, variables, spirits, whether they're living or not. Now, even if you stub your toe on a chair and you kick the chair, that shows something
Yeah.
about your relationship.
There's a difference between being conditioned by a relationship and
Mm,
just learning from it. I don't want to be conditioned by my relationships, because that means I'm changing for them,
mm.
right? Like I want to know who I am so fully, and love who I am so fully, that I show up as my best self regardless, right? And then that way, when you can show up into a relationship as your the best version of yourself, you know that you're gracious, you know that you're kind, you know that you're loving, you know that you're compassionate and understanding, you know you communicate well, because these are all who you are, then you're not taking the things they do or don't do personally anymore. You're not bending and sacrificing and, walking over your own boundaries and standards because it's something that they want, right? And there's a difference. It's one thing to compromise, right? If you know that you fall short in an area, and we all know our own flaws, we all do, right? But that's still different than, oh, I'm going to change who I am based on who you need me to be right now, right? And if you have to change the core of who you are, especially when you've worked really hard on yourself to be the best version of yourself, if you have to change who you are for another person, I just simply don't think they're in alignment with you. I don't think they're the right person for you, because you shouldn't have to do that. When you come as your best self and another person comes as their best self, and the compatibility and the structure is there for a good relationship, and you're both showing up as the best version of yourself, it's going to work. No one has to completely change their identity to show up now. I admire who you are. I admire the traits that you have, the qualities that you have, the things, the strengths that you have make me want to be better, and vice versa. You learn, but you don't condition yourself. And that's the whole point, is unconditioning ourselves
Mhm.
to stop molding and shaping ourselves to fit in everywhere else with all these different people, because we're supposed to be who we are, right?
Yeah, no, I think we're saying the same thing. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
every time you set a boundary and stick to it, you're conditioning yourself to be the person who holds those boundaries. So either way, but we're always molding and reprogramming for sure. Obviously, there's the victim playing the victim, and I think we all have a judge inside who judges our actions if it was right or wrong. Oh my God, it ran a red light. Well, it's just a red light on a street. Without the street and the red light, you could still go that way. Animals do all the time. They don't look at the red light. But the judge is going to say, oh, it's a law. People say, I get a ticket. I'm a judge. And then, victim may say, oh, but everyone else is running the light. Or, oh, but why does the dog get to cross the road without getting a ticket? I'm also a species, So how do you help people differentiate between a victim's mentality and a victim experience?
Sometimes I think we stay in victim mode when we don't feel justified in what happened to us. And what I mean by that is that a lot of people really, really struggle to look at what happened to them and really face it.
Mhm.
Really face it, not
True
just go,
that.
oh yeah, that happened to me, and that sucked, and no one hears me, no one cares. Like, there's a difference. And when you truly, truly, truly sit with what's happened to you, and you can do two things. When you can look at the situation and go, I did not deserve that. I should not have had to go through that. That was wrong what they did to me. But also, this is what I needed to learn so that I don't let someone else do that again. That's how you go from victim to victor, because
Mhm.
you're not just looking at them as the whole picture. And I think a lot of times, especially, I don't know about women, but especially victims that have been through like the things that I have with sexual assault and all of those things, you get so focused on the oppressor and what they did to you that you can't even move past what happened anymore. Like, because the sole focus is they did this to me, which, fair, they did do that to you, and it was wrong. But there comes a point when you have to shift the focus. Okay, now it's time for me to move forward.
Mhm.
Now it's time for me to heal. Now it's time for me to acknowledge what happened and move past it and let it go. And I know, and that's really hard, and it's hard to hear sometimes. And for every person, that stage of progress is different. Like, no one's the same. It may take someone a month, like they may only take them a month to move through that hurdle, and for some people it may take 2 years, and that's okay, as long as they're actively showing up for themselves and going, okay, how do I pull myself back up now? How do I take the next step? How do I learn from this? Okay, this happened to me at this place. What do I now know about what happened to me there that I can protect myself next time, right? It's like being proactive with your own growth in the process and not just letting it be what happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Hell
Yes.
yeah. That's a form of compassion. I say it all the
Mhm.
time. Get over it. Get
Yeah.
after it. Now, I don't know
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
get over it is for you. Processing, journaling, crying, eating ice cream, talking to your friends, going on vacation, buying a bunch of shit. Whenever you can the longer it takes you to get over it, the longer you suffer. So to be passionate with yourself, you got to find a way to release that shit and let it go and
Yeah.
accept it, own it. Okay, that happened, but now the reason, whoever I'm blaming, however I feel, the victim, the depression, the anxiety, the hesitancy, the self-doubt, the lack of belief, all that is now in my possession, and it's up to me. It's my responsibility to find a way to heal it, own it, make it a part of me, and turn it into my power. That's why I say get over it and get after it. It's a form of compassion. I'm not saying right when you feel the emotion, don't feel it. No, hell, you better not do that. I did that, didn't work. Everybody got hurt,
Mm-hmm.
including me.
That's right.
True. So
Yeah.
figure out your systems, man. And it starts by preparing before you get to it in order to be able to get over it.
Yeah. And I genuinely think that it's the smallest shift. It's like almost so simple it doesn't seem effective, but that true shift is going, okay, it's time to move forward. Like, really making that decision until you make the choice. Like, you genuinely make a choice in your mind and your heart and your spirit that you're moving forward, you probably won't. You probably won't.
Mhm.
You'll stay there for, because that's just how we are by human nature. We'll stay there. We desire comfort, and even the
Mhm.
painful things can sometimes be comfortable, right?
Oh, yeah, because it's familiar, the
Yeah.
familiar uncomfortability. And owning your story too, I think, because, and I'm going back to the saying in my head, everything's happening for you, which I know that's hard to think about when it comes to like sexual assault and stuff. But it's like, okay, especially for all three of us on here, we've gone through a lot of shit at different levels, and now we all have this platform where we're sharing our own stories and helping thousands, millions of other people, right? So it's
Yeah.
like these things that happened to us we wouldn't be who we are today without these things that we went through. And so it's like looking at it like that, because we can help other people who are going through the same thing right now get through it the way that we did already. So thinking about that too, and like your story is powerful for other people that are going through the same thing.
Yeah, and maybe sometimes that's the shift too. It's going,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you know what, this sucked. Like what I went through was horrific and awful, but if I can find the courage to tell people what happened, think of all the people that have been there before,
Mm-hmm.
right? That are still suffering in silence, and my courage will help them feel courage. Like my story will make them understand that what happened to them wasn't okay as well. Like I truly, honestly, that's where I found my entire purpose, was just going, I'm not the only one who's been through this. And there's still going to be people that end up going through this every single day. And I had nowhere to go with my pain. I had nowhere to go to find encouragement. So how can I be the person that I didn't have for other people?
Exactly.
You know?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
A large part of it is fear of judgment. And so when you talk about
Mhm.
it, and the result isn't as bad as you thought. You thought your mom was going to disown you. You thought your friends. You thought you was going to get fired. You thought your uncle was going to let you go. You thought all these things, and none of it happened.
Yeah.
And you're like, why did I hold that for so long? And then little by little, I'm sure both of y'all can attest, you start to disclose more information
Yeah.
because you become more okay with people being okay with what you thought. Oh my God, I'm a felon. I don't want to tell anybody until
Mm-hmm.
6 months in. And I'm like, also, we ain't going out the country, girl, and I can't really leave the county. So hope you love
And then they're
Minneapolis.
like, and I'm breaking up with you
They're
now
like,
And I
because
they're
can't
like,
what?
really leave the
well,
county.
no, they're like, well, I love you. I'll stay with you here. Shit, the dick good. You fucking, and at least you can cook, and at least you work out and you're healthy. I'm like, okay, well, good, because I'm homeless. So I'm glad we made it this far. But but that was back in the day, y'all. Dark days. Read my book. But I'm saying online, I was always fearful of saying things because my uncle was my boss. And one time he had told me, don't be saying reckless shit. Before I worked with my uncle, I was the most reckless person online. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to stop doing that. So I didn't know how people were gonna judge me for changing my style because I didn't want to get in trouble with my uncle, or if my uncle would judge me for being my uncle. So there was this kind of back and forth between what I'm too much. Is that not myself? Am I being too corporate? Am I being too? So I did this whole friction thing for a while, but it wasn't until I really made the shift into the version of it, which is about 18 months after I started doing motivational content, where I was actually living in my truth, where I started talking about my past that was before that 18 months ago. Because I knew if I was in the transition trying to talk about, oh, I was waking up early, I'm working out every day, but I was partying on the weekend. If I talked about it like that, there would be judgment from all areas, including myself. So how did content, because you got a couple videos that blew up. That's how I met you, was the one you was crying in the car. I felt sad when I saw you. I said, oh damn. It's like there comes a day where you have to walk away. I said, damn it, girl. You're right. Today's the day. I'm walking away from my old version. but how did content help you continue to heal? I mean, do you go to therapy as well, or who'd you first start
Yeah, I've done
talking to
therapy
it about?
too, but one thing I want to say about the judgment piece is that a huge part of that too is honestly just being okay with people judging you. Because I honestly, like you were saying, you're afraid your uncle might disown you. You're afraid this. I did have family members that were like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Mm-hmm.
We don't like." I still have family members now that still they don't like that I do this. They don't like. I don't know why. I don't know why it makes them uncomfortable, but I had to get so okay with myself and know my purpose so fully that I stopped catering to make everyone else comfortable. And even with posting like that video that went viral, like I got so much shit on that. I mean, people ate me alive. Of course, it had a greater impact in the positive way than a negative way, but there were a lot of negative things on that too that kind of like ate me alive a little bit at first, you know? And I had to be okay with that. I had to go, you know what? The way that other people feel about my truth and my experience and what I'm going through, that's on them. That has
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do with me. I'm not going to stop telling my story because there are people that don't like to hear it. I'm just not going to. And that came with a lot of healing work too, and building my self-confidence to know that like my purpose is greater than other people's opinions, you know? And so that was a huge part of it. And can you take me back to the question again? Because I wanted to say that really quick first.
No, yeah, fear of judgment, y'all. So get it out. Get the small pieces out first, what you're comfortable with. But how did like content help you to
Oh yeah.
continue to heal, posting online?
Honestly, it
Because it helped
was,
me tremendously.
oh, I think it was at least 60%. I think for me, just healing in general, just knowing that I wasn't alone. Like just seeing so many comments on the things that I was posting going, me too. I felt that way
Hmm.
too. I went through that too. And going, wow, like we really are better together. Like we really do heal when we open ourselves up to the world around us and allow ourselves to be seen. Like allowing myself to be seen healed me a lot. Even in the negative ways, it still healed me a lot. And it healed me seeing that other people were healing through my own healing. Like that was so empowering to me and kept me going. And even in the times where I've like been like, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm done, I'm throwing it all away, it's the thing that kept me going. It was like, no, there's still another person out there that maybe hasn't heard
Yep.
these things yet that needs it, and it's going to help them heal too. And so it's like it's finding that purpose bigger than yourself, like that's bigger than you, you know? And that honestly, that healed me so much, just knowing that our experiences, when we come together with our experiences, we do heal one another, you know?
Yeah, and
Does
women getting
doesn't that give you
get it.
Yeah.
You go ahead. You go.
I was gonna say, doesn't that give you motivation on the days you don't feel like it, when you're like, oh, this one girl said that my story changed her life. I'm gonna actually keep going, just from one person saying, like maybe a little small paragraph. That's happened to me. Where like I told
Yeah.
my kids, my kid was in the hospital. I sent them your videos, and please don't stop sending them. And on days I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to post them. Like, well, there's a freaking kid in the hospital somewhere complaining about life, and I'm complaining about content.
Yeah.
I mean, grateful for life, and I'm complaining about content.
Facts. Facts. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And honestly, that's what's kind of pushed me through too with the people that were close to me in my life that didn't like it. Was going, hey, like, I'm sorry that this makes you uncomfortable, but I also received a message this morning from someone saying it saved their life. And that's just going to be more important than how you feel uncomfortable about this. I'm sorry. Like, you got to kind of weigh it out.
Yeah, and people who are uncomfortable with it, like your friends and family, they're going to be because they know you from your past. So when they see you stepping out and shining your light that isn't normal to them, they would never do that, right? So it's making them uncomfortable because you're showing them how they are lacking in some way, shape, or form. And I just want to go back to what you said about being comfortable being seen, because I think especially as women, for centuries, our ancestors of women have been beaten down and like have to be quiet, only speak when you're spoken to, and don't share your voice, don't share your
And
opinions,
black
don't share your
people too, y'all.
ideas. Yeah, yeah, yes, exactly. But I mean, black women the most, like it's so anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But it's like so important for women to realize that we have a lot of power when we do use our voices and share what we know and share what we're healing through, because we as women in community is so powerful. I mean, men too, but like women alone, ooh, it's like okay, girl power. Like,
Yeah,
let's
earth
get out and share
shattering.
our voices, especially too in this day and age when there's so much in AI. I love AI. Okay. I use it every day for my business. It's like, it saves time. Like, I use it a lot, but it's also important to use your authentic voice and show up and have those talking head videos where you're actually sharing like what you actually think and your authenticity, because there is a lot of things that people are just kind of like, when it comes to sharing your own experiences, it's really important to actually share it from your heart, because you're going to
Yeah.
stand out. Most people aren't doing that. So
Which is
it's
new to
really,
me. I didn't even, somebody, who was it? It was a friend of mine like a few weeks ago talking about their chat GPT,
yes.
whatever it is. And I've heard of it, of course, but I didn't use it. And they were like, you don't use that for like your posts and stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I had no idea that people, like their entire social medias were curated from their chat GPT or whatever the heck it's called. I had no idea. I had no idea. And I was just like, what?
Mhm.
Why?
Yeah,
Why? But I
even
apparently
the
it's a
people.
thing.
Yeah.
Even the people that are talking there's like a little nerd at a computer screen controlling this doctor talking about all these different things, that with the suit on in the office and all these facts and sourcing and all this stuff that you can just make up on AI, which is why it's important to do the talking videos, the live videos, but also to do events in person and post
Yeah.
those as well, because The thing I love about me is you're gonna see my page and be like, is he real? Then I show up in person and be like, yep, this motherfucker more real in person. God dang, he is exactly who it is. But some people are gonna be they're only online. Like their only personality is online. They're only good in front of their camera in their little office. And when they get in front of people, it's all freaking, oh my God, fear, because they haven't done the real work. They just sit and talk in front of a screen. So the truth is always going to surface. They also have AI who makes music. You just got to type in words. AI makes a song. You can go perform the song without even trying. You can make it in 5 minutes. I made one about choose yourself, but it ain't my song. I just love it. Because it's all my words. So it's tight. But
you kind of did write it in a way.
If somebody asked, I did write it. It's everything I wrote for sure, but I didn't come up with the flow and the cadence and tonality and the instrumental and all this shit and production and equalize. There's a lot of shit that you got to pay for that you can pay $60 a month for now. But when you go up on stage, it's going to show. It's going to show if that's yours or not, what you're saying.
Yeah.
Facts.
I was just going to say, talking about this being silenced as women, I just want to go into the next question. So, whether it's a partner or a friendship or abuse isn't always violent. It can be about silencing and feeling like, because I've had this experience in a relationship where I was just being myself and like I can get pretty bubbly and loud sometimes. And like I remember the person I was with like shutting me down and telling me to be quiet. And I was like, and then I just like shrunk for the rest of the day. And I was like, okay, I just like won't talk at all. And so it's like that can happen over and over to people too. What are the subtle signs of emotional abuse that people ignore for too long? Because I mean, I didn't stand for it for too long. Okay. I'm pretty outspoken when I'm like, okay, you really made me feel like shit yesterday. Like never do that again. Thank you. But a lot of people don't speak up, right? So yeah, what are the subtle signs?
So glad you asked that. That's so good. Obviously, the huge red flags are always there, right? And you know them even if you pretend you don't. But one of the things that I noticed, and I fully stand by this, whether people want to agree with it or not, but I think the second that someone is comfortable demeaning you or minimizing you emotionally or mentally for any reason, that's a cue. That's a cue. Because when you really love people, you don't come to them with that kind of energy. That's like contempt, right? That's contempt. That's like resentment. And it's abusive to want to put people down. That is abuse. That is mental and emotional abuse to put people down, whether it's name calling, whether it's speaking to them like a child, whether it's demeaning them or condescending them. That's emotional abuse. It is. And even like what you just said, that I lived years of my life in a relationship like that, where anytime I had any sort of big emotions, good, bad, or ugly, it was like, that's enough, that's enough, that's enough. Where I was like being monitored as a human, like I had to be robotic in order to survive in that relationship. That's abuse. That is abuse. Because the people who love you want to see every version of you. They want to embrace every version of you. They want to understand every version of you. Now, that's not a go-to card to say you can be your worst self. Like, I'm not saying that. But, like, if love does not treat you like you are in the way or you're too much or there's something wrong with you, that's not love. That's not love. And in my opinion, that is abusive behavior. Like those little tiny cues of, you can't do it like that. Or what are you doing? Why would you do that? Why would you say that? Anything that's just like you're being your best happy self and they don't like it, right? And they have to say something or put you down.
Unless you're risking your own health. Then I'm going to tell you, put the damn chips down, stop smoking cigarettes, get some sleep because I love you. Stop living your happy fat ass life on the couch and get up and go to the gym because I love you. If I didn't love you, I'd let you dwindle and die like the rest of them who don't choose themselves.
Yeah.
Now,
but there's a difference because the things that you're
difference.
saying are going to benefit me, right?
Right. How do people decipher between those?
If you got in the gym, you'd feel so much better. You'd have so much energy because that benefits me in the long run. There's a difference between that and you're a piece of shit. And get your life together. Like there's a huge difference. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no.
Like like talking to somebody like that is abuse. That's abuse.
Yeah,
right?
It's about the tonality connotation,
and
intention, I think.
It's
And
the
manipulators.
intention. It's the intention.
Yeah.
Do you want the best for them or do you want them to feel badly about themselves?
I know. No one knows your intention except for you and your creator, because we can make up excuses all day.
You can.
Yeah, if I say you're a piece of shit, but I didn't want to call you a fat fuck, so I called you a piece of shit because it was nice.
Neither are good.
Let's just start there. I don't think you should say that.
No, I never said that to my parents, and they're both over. But that's because I love them. You know, and I don't say that to people that I don't love because it's their choice, you know, and I
Yeah.
think we need a balance for sure. So that's exactly proves your point that if you love somebody, you don't try to hurt their feelings if they're harming themselves because it'll just get worse.
Mhm.
Well,
Trust me.
that's a whole other topic though, of me harming myself and like, not doing anything for myself and letting myself go downhill. There's a difference, I'm talking about just meet someone. You just start dating. You've been dating for a month and a half, and you're like having a good time. You're just being yourself, and they're like, "What are you doing? Why? What are you wearing?" Like somebody talking to you like
Yeah.
that. That's not love. That's not loving. That's a huge indication that something is wrong with this human,
Yeah.
right?
Especially that early on. Like and a lot of people miss the red flags or you'll let them. Oh, I think about this relationship that I was in. The first red flag was like the very first date we went on and he lost his car. Like he couldn't find where he parked his car and it pissed. And I was like, are you this dense? But I just let it fly. And then it was like years that he like I was like, oh my God, I should have just left the first time he lost his car because it was just like, are you leading me? Like, I have to lead you. And it's just funny little things like that, which that wasn't like a huge deal. Like, I could have just made the decision. But when you are in a month and a half and someone's putting you down like that or like commenting on your clothes or the way you're acting, it's like, obviously, they're not dating you for who you are. They would just leave. So they're trying to change you. And you should just leave yourself then
Yeah.
if you notice that.
And
Yeah.
that's
But
another
people don't.
reason. That's another reason you got to show up authentically
Mhm.
Exactly.
because then they'll tell you right away if they're for you or
Mhm.
not. You can't be fake for 6 months and then get relaxed and start being yourself. And now you got to deal with emotions and authenticity. Do I love this person? I want to just keep myself small so I can stay in this relationship. You do it before the love. You do it on the first date. Damn it. If I dig in my nose, I dig in my nose.
Yeah, you get what you get.
Yeah, this is it, motherfucker. No makeup and no goddamn haircut.
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
I
to my
know.
first
No,
day
I
with
don't
no
know.
makeup, but
I know
don't
about
know
that.
either.
Shoot, I'm
you
definitely
can. You
I'm
can.
gonna do arms that day for sure. But but no, I mean, I think some people deal with that of trying to put up this character, and I think that that's a fine line too of trying to if you're coming from an old relationship, then you've went through the healing, then you go into a new relationship as your first version you've never experienced, trying to present that version to someone you plan on building.
Yeah,
And
it's hard.
so, how do you stay confident in that version? Would you say
Oh,
if you
I
just
mean,
built it?
maybe you don't have to necessarily be confident in that version. Maybe you just have to be true to yourself. For me, it was trial and error, right? Like I've been kind of dating again a little bit and it's been trial and error. But I'll tell you what, I nip things in the butt really quickly now. Where I'm like this doesn't make sense. Like even if they're a good person, but like looking at the big picture, I just show up as myself. And if like the truest version of myself isn't meshing with this other person, I just see it for what it is. I don't take it personal. I don't take it as, oh, I'm not good enough or whatever. I don't necessarily think you have to be confident. You just have to be true to yourself and let what goes goes and let what stays stays.
Act like you do when you're by yourself. I think
Yeah.
that's if the things you do on the first date are in alignment with what you were doing by yourself and when you went on your date alone, then you're in a pretty good space. If you
Yes.
start changing, if you do something at home and then you go on a date and you're like, all right, actually I'm gonna talk like this now. No, don't do that. Don't do that because that ain't gonna last.
You're going to get found out.
Yeah, exactly.
Facts. There's a lot of people that do that though too. A lot of men in particular. No
Damn.
offense. No offense. But a lot of men like they act so smooth and just like calm, like they got their shit together and they're secretly extraordinarily vindictive and insecure, you know? And the second you start liking them, it all starts just unraveling and you're like, what is happening right now? Like, who
people
are
probably
you?
think people probably think I'm just because I just am this the first date, whether we're dating or I'm at the bar next to you or I'm selling liquor. Like I literally have found who I am in this
Yeah.
in this last 3 years when Revel shut down. I was like, all right, well, I can't be fake no more. I can't be Revel guy. I can't be my uncle's nephew. I got to be me and figure out where I can go. And that's the same way with all relationships. I was trying to figure out where I can be me and make money. I didn't want to go work distribution for a corporate and sell someone else's liquor who puts sugar in their freaking brand. I was like, I don't want to do that. I can't sell it the same. Where can I go be myself? So just the authenticity, man, and the choices you make alone are what going to help you mold your life and really
Yeah.
be in sync with the people and experiences
Facts.
around you.
Yeah.
Facts.
Pour into yourself because the people that are going to align with you are going to be doing the same thing. So then you come
Yeah.
together and you're like, oh, we do the same stuff when we're by ourselves. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and I pour
Overflow.
into you and you pour into me because we're both overflowing because we love ourselves so much.
Wow.
Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah. You don't start.
And no
I
one's
don't
empty.
start.
I
Yeah.
didn't run you dry. You didn't run me dry. Like, we're still bubbling up. Like, this is it.
What
Hold
is
up.
the magic?
Oh,
Yeah,
hold up. Got a refill. Let me go to sleep. You go to sleep. I'll go to
exactly.
sleep. See you
Yeah,
tomorrow
you go do
for the
you.
fourth
I'm going
cup.
to do me. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. Exactly.
Love
Exactly.
that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and those are the healthiest relationships, right? Where you can have your own identity, and
Mm-hmm.
the two of you can come together and you just build each other up, and then you go back and build yourselves up, and I mean, it's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
beautiful.
And
What?
thinking about relationships with, I'm thinking about like the examples I saw growing up because my mom and my bio dad, which he's passed away now, but they had a really toxic relationship. My mom was trying to fix him. He was an alcoholic. She was trying to like to carry everything. And that actually trickled over into because that was my early years of my life until I was like 12, right? But then seeing my mom with my stepdad, and they are like that. They like can hang out by themselves. They don't need to hang out all the time. They have their own thing. They can do their own thing like with their friends and not have to worry about it like calling each other all the time. I'm like, this is like, and he takes care of her too, and it's like that's great. But I'm like still
Yes.
stuck in this beginning part. Like, how do I get out of this? Like, how do I get
Yeah.
out of this first example? So thinking about how your parents or people that you grew up around, how they're impacting your relationships too is something to reflect on.
100%. And we don't want to a lot of the
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
No one wants to go back that far. You're like, huh.
You have
Maybe-
to
You
though.
tell me
Yeah.
that I let that guy punch me in the face because of the way that I grew up when I was 3? What?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe that's why I think space is so important.
Yeah.
Because my mom and dad was never together.
Mm.
but I do think space is important though. I think
Mhm.
buildings not having intimacy every single time you touch, not just walking around willy-nilly naked, like leave some imagination, like leave some
Amen.
space, have some time to like go back into that. Dang, I wonder how she's feeling. You know, have some time where
Totally.
you can process your emotions. Like, all right, I'm gonna go figure this out. I'll go for a walk. I'll come back. Like, let me go process my systems and my programs without the impact of us and my emotions of you. And I think
Yeah.
being able to keep that space is what promotes and generates longevity, because there's a
Yeah.
sense of desire and demand where you create a demand from being absent.
Mhm.
And that also tells you a lot about your own personal healing.
Yeah.
Like getting to a place in your life where when someone says, I just need some space to myself to kind of like rejuvenate myself, and you're like, absolutely, go do you, go do you. Take the
Please.
time. Like, yes, absolutely. That's how you know you're healing too. When you can do that without feeling like, oh, they don't want to be around me. Did I do something
Mhm.
wrong? Where you're not even thinking about that. You're just like, absolutely. You have to go fill yourself back up. You love them enough that you want them to do that, right? And you're
Right.
not taking it personally.
And you understand it because
Yeah.
you do it. Right.
Because you do it. Exactly.
So speaking of this kind of like alignment and attachment, it's like kind of right on topic with this. Our next question is, what role do attachment patterns play in keeping people stuck in toxic environments, and how do we unlearn what once felt like love?
Oof. I mean, I'm going to be really honest. I get so annoyed with the attachment theory. I get so annoyed with it. And here's why. It's not to say that it's not true, because there are some fundamental truths in attachment theory that are pretty significant, right? But what happens is that people unknowingly just identify themselves as one thing or another, right? So like most of the clients that I work with, one of the first things they say to me is, "Oh, I have anxious attachment." And I'm like, "Really? Do you have anxious attachment? Or are you in a relationship with a really toxic, abusive, avoidant person that makes you feel anxious?" Because there is a difference, right? And I noticed that about myself. I noticed that I feel very anxious in relationships with people who aren't consistent, who aren't stable, who are unpredictable, and that's normal. That's normal, right? And when I'm in a relationship with someone who's very stable and consistent and just kind of shows up when they say they're going to, I have zero anxiety, right? So I'm not an anxiously attached person, but I am going to be anxious with avoidant people. And so that's my annoyance with it, is because I think so many people, they dive into what it means to be an anxiously attached person, not realizing that it's not them, it's the relationships they're in that are making them that way, right? But that's a topic for another day. I just think it's important to know that, not to just assume. It's like diagnosing yourself, right? Like, oh, I'm bipolar, even though you've never seen a doctor. You know
I
what I
mean,
mean? It's just, I think it's
people
silly.
do that all the time.
Yeah,
with
they do.
all
They
kinds of shit.
do, but
Yeah.
it goes beyond that. You have to look at your environment first. You have to look at the behavior of the other person first. And then if you realize, oh, the common denominator is me, even when I'm with someone secure, even when I'm with someone who shows up, I'm still anxious. Okay, you might have an anxious attachment style, right? And I think that's the determining factor is like if the person that you're in a relationship with is stable and overall healthy and they're showing up for you and you still have either avoidant or attachment tendencies, then yes, you can go ahead and diagnose yourself, I guess. But anyway, my whole point is just that while those things do play a role, it still all boils down to getting to know yourself
Choose
and
yourself.
knowing what you need and what you want in a relationship and not overthinking it. Like for me, the relationships that I have been entering into have been so easy and simple because I now know exactly what I need and what I want. I don't know, it undercomplicates things when you can say, you know what? I just simply need someone who's a great communicator. You can be the greatest guy in the world. You can be everything I've ever wanted on paper, but if you're a terrible communicator, I just know you're not a good fit for me. I just
Is
know
that
you're not.
is that from your reflections or from the work you do on your own of what you desire? Is it like in the past people weren't communicating, so now I know I need that, or is it like this is just what I want in the future?
It's a combination of both. For me, I will get anxious with people who are inconsistent with communication. Like if somebody texts me once a day that I'm in a relationship with, right, a romantic relationship with, that I really want to get to know, I get a little anxious. Now I have the ability to self-reflect and go, okay, this isn't really this person. This is me. This is my stuff. How can I work through this and feel less anxious about this, right? I have that awareness, but I still do really well when I'm with a consistent communicator. And so that's therefore what I want. And I know that I'm my best self and I give the most grace and compassion and understanding and space to someone who needs it when they're a good communicator. And
Mhm.
so it's a win-win. It's me knowing myself, knowing how I respond, knowing how I feel safe, what makes me feel safe in a relationship and where I can breathe and relax and just exist versus like being hypervigilant. Did I
Yeah.
answer the question?
Hell yeah. Yeah. No, you did. You did.
But
How do we unlearn what once felt like love? Is that just similar? I mean, similar systems,
I
but
think it's
it's tough. It's tough though. I think, right? Obviously, this is all fucking tough, guys. This is why we're talking about it.
yeah.
But
I think you
identifying something as love and then trying to unidentify it and reclaim it as something else, probably one of the most tougher things to do.
I think one of the most effective things you'll ever do in your life is understanding that just because something feels like love doesn't mean it is. Like anything can feel like love and still be the opposite, right? It's knowing what love actually is. Right. And that's, I mean, again, it's a simple concept, but it is hard to do, right? And for me, I think instinctually, your spirit always knows what's truly love and what isn't. Like I really believe that. You know when someone actually loves you. Deep, deep down. And I don't care who you are, when you're in a bad relationship or the wrong relationship for you, there's a part of you that's always going, hmm, like sometimes it feels really good, but I don't know. I don't, for some reason, I don't fully trust this person. I don't know why. For some reason, I don't feel fully accepted by this person. I don't know why. For some reason, I don't feel like I can be my true, authentic self, and I don't know why, even though you do know why.
Mhm.
Because love can mimic, anything can feel like love or mimic love. But you know it. You just, and I, it's kind of a hard thing to explain, but you know when it's really love, right?
Mhm.
Am I wrong? Like, do you feel that way?
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And well, it goes back to what you were saying earlier when you were in, abusive relationships with people like physical abuse or sexual abuse or whatever. It's like that's not love, but you
Yeah.
felt like it was. So then that was kind of a ground, like laying the groundwork. So someone a little bit better, even though they're not hitting you, is like that's love,
Yeah.
but actually no, it's not. So it's like you learn a little bit more and more, and then once you realize that love isn't abusive at all in any way, shape, or form, physical, mental, emotional, and it's just being honest and communicating and letting you be who you are, like that's what
Yeah.
love is.
Yeah. Love shows up
Man,
consistently and openly, right? Love does not demean, like what even the Bible says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy.
what makes you feel like you care about you when you're alone? Well,
Mhm.
that's what you, in some way, shape, or form, are looking to attract to keep the love and peace inside. So if it's a hobby, if it's communication, if it's laughter, if it's creativity, if it's prayer, if it's cooking, these things, if these are things that make you feel like you love you, you better fucking do them. Because
Mm-hmm.
then you'll find somebody who enjoys those things. But if you love those things and you want somebody to give you those things and you're not doing them for yourself, you're never gonna get them.
Yeah,
So find out what you love to do when you're alone. That's
that's so
not
good.
toxic. That's not toxic. But whatever you do when you're like, I just love self-care. Then you want somebody who takes care of themselves. Well, you got to take care of yourself. If you just
Mm-hmm.
if cleaning just makes you feel peaceful, but you don't want to clean because you're depressed and nobody loves you, well, you're not gonna find somebody who's clean with a dirty house because your depression. Start with yourself. Clean the
Yeah.
house. Wash your
Yeah.
hands. Clean your nails. Wash your ass. Shave something. Golly, or grow it. Whatever you feel like doing. God dang it. I don't
Well,
care.
and that's
Whatever
how you
makes you feel
create
love.
codependency, right? Like that's
Yeah.
what codependency is. It's relying on another person to make you feel good about yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Can't
And
have that.
you
Mhm.
become so attached to them because you don't feel good without them.
And that's not love.
And that's not love. I don't think you can fully love someone until you've loved yourself. I really don't. I
Yeah.
think you can want to. I think you can try to, but until you have fully learned to love yourself, I don't think you can fully, truly love someone else.
No, because
And
then
how do
you project your
Mm-hmm.
insecurities on them.
protect yourself from, you don't know who is coming for you, who's against you, what's an opportunity, what's a test. You don't even know what you stand on. You just going for every willy-nilly thing, every opportunity, every dang somebody hitting on you, every text message,
Amen.
every drop of $100, every free dinner. You just out here willy-nilly because what do you stand on? So now
Mhm.
you don't know what's good, what's bad. Then you too deep in a relationship.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, not you've
That's
neglected
exactly why I
yourself.
teach like all my clients like get really solid in what you want and need in a relationship. Because if you're not, you'll accept anything, anyone. You can have absolutely nothing in common with them, but there's chemistry. So you're like, oh, this is it. And then 6 months later, you're both absolutely miserable because you're not a good match at all.
And it's too late. Not too late, but now
Right.
you're in there. Now you're in there emotionally to where you have to take the time to heal again
Yeah.
instead
And
of
it's like cycles
continuously.
are going to repeat until you learn the lesson. So
Yeah. Facts.
having the awareness of what you're supposed to learn with someone and then squashing it, getting the lesson and actually applying what you learn from it instead of just repeating cycles is very
Yeah.
major.
And don't give
Yep.
up. You may fail a couple times the first time you try it, but like just keep every time.
Hmm.
Well,
Try
you made
again.
it through
Try
you made
again.
it through your worst days
Yeah.
already. So
Yeah.
people pleasing, overextending, staying out of guilt are all chains, not choices. How do you break free of the expectations placed on you by family or society?
Kind of going back to what we said earlier, I think you break free from that when you learn to love yourself enough that you don't need their validation anymore. You don't need them to approve anymore. Like, and that's it's hard. It's really hard to do, especially if you've been a people pleaser your entire life and you've overextended your entire life. But the more that you start caring for yourself, the more that you invest in yourself and believe in who you are and the purpose for your life, the less you need other people to tell you it's okay. And the less you overextend. The less you overextend. I don't overextend myself anymore. If I do something really kind for someone, it is because I have the capacity to do it and I want to, and I expect nothing in return. It's because it's who I am, but I'm not going to go over beyond what I have the energy or the space for anymore. I'm just not going to do it. And I've gotten to a point where it's like, I'm really sorry. I'm even sorry if that hurts your feelings, but especially if it's not someone who can show up for me in the same ways. I'm just like, I'm sorry. Like, this is what I have space for. I'll do what I can when I can to the best of my ability, but I'm not going to do it for people that won't do it in return. Not that I expect it, but you just know when
Hmm.
relationships are reciprocal, they're just reciprocal. Hey, can you do this for me? Since that you don't even have to ask, right? They just are, right? And
Yeah.
you know who those people in your life are. You know who it's safe to even go out of your way for, because you just know, they'll do it for you too. And that's the best relationship you can have,
Hmm.
like whether it's friendship or family or romantic. But yeah, like I don't know. I just think when you love yourself enough to take care of yourself first, you just those kind of things just kind of fall to the wayside.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Choose yourself to be chosen, y'all. Book is out
Yeah.
now. That's what it means.
That's
Shameless book
right.
club. Where are we? Parenting with emotional
Parenting.
integrity. So thinking about kids, my son will be 8 in 2 days. which,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, party planning. Party planning is so stressful for me. I'm like, okay, we're almost there though. We got it all under control. But so thinking about kids though, and when it comes to emotional integrity, like they listen to us, they hear our words, but then they also watch us and they can feel our emotions, and they will adopt like how you're feeling. So obviously you have a daughter, one daughter.
She's 10.
Yeah, so you've probably experienced this where it's like if you're sad, she's sad, and she maybe even starts crying if you're crying when you don't even say anything. Like Sebastian
Yeah.
has done that too. So it's like they can really feel the energy. And so how did healing yourself shift the way you parent, and how do you protect children from the cycles that you once lived?
Oh gosh, that's a whole book. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But I think well, one, and I think this is really important too, because especially with, well, no, I think it's men and women.
Hmm.
When you're going through a hard time as a parent, you want to shield your kids from it, right? But I think sometimes we do them a disservice by not showing up authentically for them, because emotions are human. Emotions are a real part of life, and I think sometimes it's okay for our kids to see us struggling,
Yeah.
because then they get the gift of seeing us overcome too. I don't buy into the concept of having your shit completely together in front of your kids all the time. I don't believe in that. Do you want to have a certain level of, self-respect? Right. Yeah. And you want to show them, you want to be a good example to them. But sometimes it's okay for your kids to see you struggle.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's okay for your kids to see you a little bit emotional, because then they see you as human too, instead of putting you on a pedestal that's impossible to maintain. I think that's really important. And one of the things that have actually helped me and my daughter bond a lot is me being a real person, and me talking to her like a real person, and communicating with her when if she sees me crying and she comes over and she's so sweet and so empathetic, like, mommy, are you okay? And then for me to sit with her and go, yeah, I'm okay, I'm having a really tough time right now, and I had my feelings hurt from this one thing that happened, and I'm kind of struggling on how I want to respond to it, and so I'm just feeling a little bit sad, and I think that's okay, and I think it's beautiful, and it teaches them empathy, and it teaches them understanding, and it helps them see other people in the world as people.
How do you protect your children from cycles you once lived in?
Well, being the example, like
Yeah.
there's no greater way than being the example of what you want to see your kids be, right? Learning to heal yourself, learning to be your best self, letting them witness you overcoming all the obstacles in your life with grace and integrity, and becoming the best version of yourself, the realest version of yourself, right? So they don't ever feel like they can't. Like, the more that they see you do, and the more they see you overcome, and the more they see you as a normal person that can do hard things, the more likely they are to adopt that.
I was just gonna say, if you're holding your shit together all the time and they see that, they're gonna try and live up to this standard, and they're never
It's
gonna let
exactly
themselves
what
be emotionally
happens.
open. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. So many people
I
are
like
like,
that.
yeah,
Especially
and
if you haven't done
it's,
the work on your story.
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm,
you got to, as parents, man, you got to figure out your story, the dark places, the positivity from the dark places, figure out, and this is just as a human, I think, before you can start helping others, let alone whether it's a kid, whether it's a freaking, you're building a community, you're doing coaching. Like, I think a huge part of that, first of all, I think a prerequisite to be able to be a therapist is you have to go through the shit of the people that you're talking to. That needs
yeah,
to be a thing. You can't have someone who's never been abused helping somebody get through abuse, because then you're just going off of books and shit. And
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
not the same for everybody. So that has to be, because there's people in my mom's treatment center who never been alcoholics. I'm like, what the fuck? How did y'all even know what they're going through? How are you even like, oh, the addiction, the cravings are coming? Like, motherfucker, you don't know. You might,
Yeah.
but you don't know the difference between alcohol and drugs and sugar craving. There's a big
yeah,
difference in that, you know.
Hmm.
And so
yeah,
that, realizing that was kind of what brought me to that. But knowing your story, understanding your power, it allows us to be able to show our vulnerability more, feeling more safe showing that, whether it be to
mm-hmm.
your kids or not. Talking to your kids like they're people. Some of y'all treat your dogs better than your damn self. You treat your house and your car better than your damn self. And if your
Yeah,
dog is a damn human, then get your dog on your side of the sidewalk then, like most humans. Why you got your dogs on the right, then a leash, then you on the other side, you talking about it's just a dog. Well, if I start barking back at that motherfucker, what you gonna do? Okay, exactly, because it ain't just a dog, all right? I mean, it is just a dog, but I know everybody's attached, whatever the fuck. But if you're going to treat your dog better than you, well, just expect to keep attracting dog-ass men.
Ooh. Bar.
Shit.
I mean, but that's, again, that's a learned experience, is learning that how important it is to treat yourself well and to treat
Mhm.
yourself like you're someone you love. Didn't start doing that till 3 years ago. So
Man,
38
we
years
all,
old. And I was 35 before I was like, I need to treat myself like I love myself too.
It's
yeah,
interesting how long it can take.
man.
I think especially for women, it's like it takes us like so many cycles and so many relationships and so many things happening to us where we finally decide. Like in our 30s, I think it's like
Yep.
you put your foot down and you decide what you want, and then you don't accept anything less. And then from
Yeah.
there, so just if you're listening to this and you're in your 20s, or even if you're a teenager or whatever, as a woman dating, like the best is yet to come. You're gonna learn
It
your lessons and
is. Oh, it is.
find people that are
I
going to
think,
respect you.
and for, obviously women and men are different, but men, once you stop chasing pussy, you find peace. I'm telling you, I know women, and it's not like you ain't got to go celibate and none of that. But put the porn down, put the dating apps down, tap into yourself. Stop going on dates, tricking off, so you can have a first date and get some first pussy. Just take some time off. I got friends dealing with porn addiction, dealing with video game addiction. I got friends who be going on dates every week, fucking new girls and spending money every week. And I'm like, dude, what? How do you are you excited for this? You just finished. You got another one next week. Are you excited? Like, yeah, damn, you get excited like that. But that's gonna distract you.
Yeah.
Always gonna distract you.
Yeah.
I think in order for a real woman, a real healed woman for longevity, feel comfortable around you, you have to be a healed man. You can't be
Yeah.
chasing pussy and expect to get a boss ass woman. She ain't gonna put up with that because she gonna see the tendencies. She already healed through those.
Yeah.
That's why she's alone typically.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of
And
dog
she
ass
feels
men.
that. A woman, I can sniff it out immediately.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Immediately. The second that I'm in the presence of a man that's like that, I already know.
Mhm.
Me too.
You don't have to
Now.
tell me anything. I already know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the women
So-
that you're looking for are probably not on dating apps either. Just
Exactly.
Just
Exactly.
so you know.
You better
Amen. Amen.
you better take
We all
your
learned
ass
our
to.
lesson the hard way, didn't we?
Hey, you better, if you want to find your girl, go somewhere that y'all would still go to in 50 years, like the organic aisle.
Costco.
Take your ass to the library.
Costco.
You
Go
want
to
to
the
find a good
gym.
woman? Get to
Costco.
Costco.
Going,
Or Target,
go to
you know,
Costco.
whatever.
Y'all already prepping for a family. Target, listen, yeah, but you ain't gonna find them in the strip club or the casino. That's for sure. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe you guys run it.
You can find them, but you're not gonna. It's not gonna last.
Yeah, it's gonna be quick, just like that
Oh.
first date.
Right.
Damn,
One and
nice.
done. One and done. No.
Lit, man. No, it's well, I kind of wanted to get into this nervous system, but
Yeah.
let's
I ask
finish
one
on
There
more?
is
that.
one more
the
thing I
nervous
want to say
system.
about dating when it comes to being a parent
Yeah.
that I think is
course.
so important, and no one ever talks about this. And it's one of the greatest decisions that I ever made in my life. And this is not to like, make anyone feel bad who didn't do this way, but it's something I learned based on my own childhood that I promised I wouldn't do to my own daughter, was that my daughter has never met a single person I've dated. Not a single one, because I've never met a single person that I thought this could really last. And so for me, I have a really set, solid boundary of until I can truly feel safe with someone, like truly feel safe with someone and trust them, and realize like they're going to be in my life for a long time. I don't even want her to meet them, because just as bad, like as heartbreaking as breakups are for you,
Yeah.
when you have kids, it breaks their heart too. It breaks their heart too. And that is one way to protect them. One, from people that you don't fully trust or know yet, right? Because you just don't. You just don't. But also, it protects their hearts. And that's so important, because kids get really attached, Like my parents, I love them dearly, but they both like moved right on, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But just meeting different people all the time was really hard for me. I didn't like that. It didn't make me feel comfortable. I didn't even feel safe as a little kid with some of the people. I just don't ever want my daughter to go through that. And I think that's so important as a parent, is like, you're not just dating for you. You're not just dating. You're not just picking a partner for you. You're picking a role model for your child too. And so it's really important.
Yeah, I couldn't stand them hood ass niggas in my house eating up all my cereal. I'd be like,
Not the
motherfucker,
cereal.
I'm an only child, and you are 50. What you doing? Get out my. That's all I got. Now I had to start hiding my snacks and shit. And now I start seeing the comedy stand-ups where people like, you ever date a baby mom? That's fine. You can go up in the kitchen in the pantry and get all kinds of kids snacks. I'm like, damn, that was me. It was eating my shit. Fuck. Damn, now I'm being made fun of. But it was real, man. Shout out Mama D, man. She's a kind spirit.
But you're right. You're right.
Yeah. 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 And hey, if I come and you got a kid, I'm eating your snacks. So you better buy double. if it's on my 20% fund. So if you're listening and I'm at your crib on my 20% fund, I'm eating snacks. Ice cream, preferably. If you can get double that.
Love our snacks. Let's be real.
Yes,
For
yes,
real.
we do. Actually, like I don't buy my son, like he gets really boring snacks. So I'm like, you're not gonna be eating bullshit like every week. Maybe sometimes he'll get something that's like, you know, box whatever. But he's like, Mom, why do I have to have seaweed for snack at school? I'm like, you love seaweed. You love seaweed.
No,
Don't you love
thanks.
seaweed? It is good, but it's just funny.
Don't
We
you
love
love
cheeses
seaweed?
around here.
It's salty and delicious. Anyway, so
yeah.
let's ask this one last question. You want to do the nervous system one?
Yeah, no, it's
Okay. Because I think we've been talking about a lot of cerebral information and like getting all this knowledge and applying it, but also a lot of the healing has to be done in the body, right? Because you can think and read and learn all these things, but if your body doesn't feel like it's healed, rhyme, you're not going to really make much progress. So what practices or modalities have helped you regulate your nervous system after healing through trauma?
Regulating my nervous system. That was the alone season for me.
Yeah.
That was that season of going, I got to break the addiction of dating. I got to break the addiction of needing attention. I've got to break the addiction of wanting intimacy with people. I have to break that because I was all over the place. My body, it was awful. It was awful. Like I was so anxious, so distressed, so depressed. Like because I hadn't given myself the space to literally withdraw and break the addiction from those things. And honestly, that's one of the greatest seasons of your life is that season you have by yourself.
Yes.
Because you give yourself the space to come back down to earth and go, okay, what makes me feel calm? Like what makes me, you get to be introspective versus like relying on outside sources for all of those things. So that's what helped me the most, was getting really comfortable in aloneness and allowing myself to go through those seasons of isolation that were really uncomfortable and lonely, even when it was really hard. And like I desperately wanted to be touched. I desperately wanted, to talk to someone every day, but it was going, I have to do this for myself right now. Like I have to be with myself right now. And that kind of broke the addiction from it, which was fundamental. But what's been really beautiful with that is that through dating, again, I'm learning to trust my body more than I ever even knew before. And a great example is there's been two people in my life in like the last 6 months, we'll say. The first person on paper was everything I ever wanted. And I was like, look at me doing the work, bringing in people that are everything I ever wanted. Like, yes, like no big deal, like good looking, successful, handsome, like fun, like this is everything, and on paper he was everything I wanted. Except I felt really anxious. My body just wasn't like settled in that. And I couldn't understand. I kept going, what is going on here? Like, why do I feel anxious? And like, why am I like not sleeping at night? Like I can't sleep very well. And I got really like intoxicated with dopamine, like really intoxicated with dopamine in like a really unhealthy way, which felt great, but it wasn't balanced or normal. And then one day we stopped talking and I went completely back to my normal. And I was like, oh my God,
Your
like
body
that
is
was
telling
not
you.
the right relationship for me. That was not the right person for me. And then I started talking to someone. It was the complete opposite of that. I have felt calm. I felt peaceful. I felt myself. I haven't felt like I've needed to do or be or say or show up in any particular way. I've just felt my body has been in just a state of like balance the whole time. Having the two examples like back to back was like a mind change game for me, because I was just like, oh my God, you really can feel it in your body. You feel it. You're like, and I sometimes attribute that's my spirit. Like that's my spirit going, I know it looks really good. I know they might even be an awesome person, but they're not the right one for you. This isn't the right fit. This isn't alignment, even if it looks really good and feels really good. And I now, because of that experience, I trust it more than ever. I trust my body more than ever to tell me the truth, even when my mind's not ready to adapt.
It's like that gut feeling. You can get like a pit in your stomach, or I've had this experience like in the past. Women, if you end up having like sexual relationships with someone, you start breaking out, or you notice like your pH is off. It's like your body's like, no, like stop, don't do this anymore. So and then the intuition too. It's like your body will give you signs, and your head will. If you like the person a lot, like they look perfect on paper, your head is gonna be like, but they're everything. It's like, no, your body's like, no, you have to listen to your body. So
You do.
that is just something to think about if you are dealing with any of that stuff, because like if they are causing like breakouts or shit like that, they're probably sleeping with someone else.
Something's
Because
going
you're
on.
mixing, right? So it's like,
And,
you just got to question those things.
Yeah.
and yeah, well, if your body's already giving you signs and you're not changing your diet or changing your sleep, you're not going to listen to those signs when you get in a relationship. So listen to the headaches when you're breaking out for no reason without anybody involved. When there's nobody around you and you get a headache, listen to that. Are you dehydrated?
Yeah.
Are you lacking nutrients? When you freaking are nodding off in the middle of the day, you got brain fog. Those are signs. When you got cravings for sweet shit, those are signs. That means you need to check in with yourself. You ignore those, the alarm system doesn't work. And subconsciously, it knows you're going to ignore the signs. So it starts again, what you do for yourself when you're by yourself. You condition your nervous system to be connected to your awareness and your conscious mind, instead of being like, oh, my back hurts. Why is my back hurt? I'm supposed to be up all day. No, you're supposed to sit down. Not taking ibuprofen and pushing through it. Find a way to get to the root of it. And that's the power of our body, to let us know. The pain is to let you know. The flare-ups, the skin conditions, the brain fog, the negative thinking, the downloads, those are all signs that we're meant to do. But then obviously the ego and the conscious mind want shit to be what it is and not what it's supposed to be, or what we want it to be and not what it is. So, and we try to find a way to justify excuses. But like you said, man, that solitude and doing what you do for yourself will connect you to that awareness. And really your body it'll probably be lighter on the signals too. It'll probably be slight signals instead of like, hey, motherfucker, take your ass to sleep. You've been ignoring me for 2 years.
for 3 weeks.
Like, damn,
Right?
kidney stone? Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's so true. But yeah, you're right. That season of solitude helps you. That's the perfect time to really get to know your body. You know?
And feel your feelings instead of like distracting yourself with another person or anything. Like sit with the feelings that you're feeling when they're uncomfortable, because that's when you learn the most, even when it's the hardest. Yeah.
Love it.
Love
Locked
it.
in. Thank you so much, Ashley, for what you do for yourself online, what you've done for me in my journey, but also coming on this show.
You're welcome.
This was such a great conversation.
No, we could do this for 5 hours, honestly.
We could. How can people work with you? Where can people find you? And what kind of offers do you have that are available right now for people to tap into?
So obviously I have my podcast, This Is Where We Heal, which is on YouTube, Spotify. I think it's on all the things. So just look for This Is Where We Heal podcast. It's a great resource that I have that's free. I get to talk to cool people like Hakeem's been on there. I'm going to probably have you. So it's just a great resource for anyone that's just going through it and just needs, some wisdom and some encouragement and support. And then obviously online it's Ashley Taylor Maland or Ashley Maland on all my platforms, and I have links in my bio on my Instagram for people to work with me one-on-one. I do either mentorship, which is a 3-month program, or you can sign up for just one-on-ones, which I get a lot of those too, and those are great too. Yeah, and then I am going to be starting an online community soon, but I'm still working on that, so that'll be coming, but we're not quite there yet.
Amazing. We'll make sure we link everything in the show notes. So if you're listening to this, just scroll on down to the words and find the links. They should be blue in the show notes. And if you're listening to this episode, make sure that you leave us a review if you liked it. Follow Ashley on Instagram. And until next time.
Yep. You got to show the people how to love you by loving yourself.